Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel, and today we're talking briefly about Walgreens stock. Now, this is a company that has really sold off from the previous trading ranges, and if we look at this stock, it used to trade actually at 45 plus dollars per share. Going back, I remember this used to trade near $50 per share in 2021 in that time frame. And so we've really come down from levels that we have not seen in quite a while. In fact, if we look at the 5-year chart, you can see that Walgreens is pretty much hitting an all-time low. And this does beg the question, could this potentially be a good buy in terms of, first of all, we look at Walgreens' dividend. They pay a 7.62% dividend, which arguably is a decent yield. I mean, if you're looking at interest rates right now, roughly 5%, the Fed's likely going to be cutting in 2024. But you can kind of look at that and say, okay, well, this is a decent dividend. But at the same time, what are you getting on your money versus what you could be getting in a savings account, which is the risk-free rate. So if you look at the dividend over the long run, you can kind of see that the dividend itself, 7.62% yield, 48-cent quarterly dividend amount. And if we look at this from the perspective of, over the course of several years, you'll see that Walgreens has actually maintained its dividend and has done a great job at paying out its dividends on a consistent basis and actually raising every single year for quite some time. You'll see in 2022, for example, they raised their dividend. 2023, so far they have not raised their dividend. They might end up doing so. But as you can see, going back to 2021, 46 cents a share, 45 cents in 2019, and so on. And so ask yourself, if you're a cash flow investor, you're looking for portfolio solutions in terms of, getting regular income, could this be a solution for you? And we also have to consider the risk of this stock if it continues to go down, not just the income you could get, but also the share price and where that could go over the long run. So if you're looking at this from an investment perspective, one thing I like to consider is the fact that Walgreens, at least where I live, is a pretty, I would say, it's a very active marketplace. There's about 3 of them in a 5-mile radius of where I live. And then there's a bunch of them outside of where I live as well. So I live in Southern Illinois, kind of near St. Louis. And in that area, there's a lot of Walgreens concentrated in a specific vicinity. Now, I've always shopped at Walgreens. We also have CVS. CVS, though, is more, to me anyway, like they just shut down a location. And I don't think they're as strong as Walgreens personally. I think Walgreens is a much stronger company. At least what I can see, the demand for Walgreens is very strong, at least in my area. And so if you look at, Walgreens stock jumping on upgrade, and it talks about how the stock basically shot up pretty good. And this was, I think, that was actually over a month ago. This was more recent, jumped 8.8%. If you look at the chart, Walgreens did in fact jump up here recently from $20 per share, which is probably long overdue. You look at the short interest, only 6% short float. Now, this company does have negative net income right now. You might see that and get scared. But historically, this company has been a cash cow. They have had some expenses recently, and that factors into the net income and all that kind of stuff. But if we look at the book value per share, we look at the dividend yield once again, look at the different types of ratios. This is something also to keep in mind. Their debt to equity, their long-term debt to equity. You can kind of look at those ratios to maybe determine where they're at and what their liquidity ratios are, if they're good or bad relative to other competitors and whatnot. But with that being said, you'll see that they're starting to come back here. And the question is, could we potentially reach the all-time highs of, $40, $50 per share where this used to trade at? And the question is, do you feel comfortable holding on to this stock based upon your own risk tolerance and investing goals? That's always something to consider. But here's an interesting article on Yahoo Finance talking about how to make $1,000 a month with Walgreens, and talks about the dividend. Because let's be honest, that dividend is very tempting. Now, this was written when the dividend yield was 9.21%. So for every $100,000 you invest, you would get back basically $9,000 in cash flow, which is pretty good just on that dividend yield. So, but assuming they maintain their dividend, then Walgreens could, be a cash cow for years to come potentially. And the question is, do you think they stand a chance to continue to grow in the coming years? And what do you expect their business model to do? It's all part of the research process. With that being said, guys, thanks so much for watching. If you're looking for more research on stocks, check out Seeking Alpha in the description below. It's a great way to get additional research. Have a great day and take care.